This is not game strategy or life advice. I wouldn't pretend to be qualified to give either. It's just an exer's take on a 40-year-old coin-op video game. God, 1982 is 40 years ago. Okay, and yes, I was there. And as for all the hype about how a video game arcade on a Saturday night in the early 80s was just about the bitchinest place in the entire universe, just let me set the record straight. You're dead nuts fucking right it was. Black lights, mall pizza, synth music, and those terrible perms. And I'm talking about the guys.
Ouch!
Ironically, I didn't even like Robotron back then. It was too fast. Too fast. If you're not familiar with it, Robotron is an arena shooter where you must avoid getting hit while clearing the board of all robots, except for the Hulks, which you can't destroy. Each level is peppered with humans whom you collect for points. These humans can be killed by Hulks, so there is a definite urgency to collecting them as quickly as possible. Note that I said quickly and not fast. But the way the game works, staying alive while you're collecting humans can affect the score more than how many humans you actually rescue. So it's important to be smart about how you collect the humans. Notice again, I still haven't used the word fast when talking about collecting humans. The other key to success is longevity. As long as you have lives, you have the ability to score. When the game's over, it's over. No more scoring after that. That's just the reality of things in Robotron. When I first saw Robotron, it appeared to be very frantic. A pretty fast game, like Centipede or Missile Command, when what it really is a lot. At first glance, you look at the marquee and think to yourself, wow, I can move and shoot a gazillion lasers instantly in every direction. And usually the worst thing you can do when faced with a lot is to just dive in and start trying to shoot a gazillion lasers instantly in every direction, without a plan or even a quick assessment. Back in the day, we called that fucking it up. On the other hand, if all you can see is a swarming mass of robots surrounding you, you're gonna panic, or at least feel overwhelmed. So it all boils down to perspective. Are you doomed, or are you just challenged? Because sometimes you can control the challenge, like having a realistic understanding of your limitations. The problem with overhyping your skills to yourself is nobody's around to tell you that you're full of shit. And when you jump in with blind confidence that turned into chest-thumping stupidity back there somewhere, you tend to really suck at what you're trying to accomplish. In Robotron. So yes, you kind of have those abilities, but with a heavy dash of perspective. You don't shoot a gazillion lasers. You can actually only have 4 on the screen at any given time. And they don't move instantly. It actually takes each laser noticeable time to cross the screen. And finally, while you can shoot in every direction, you can only shoot in one direction at a time. So I probably didn't play Robotron so much back in the day because I basically sucked at it. Because I tried to play it too fast. And by fast, what I really mean is trying to deal with all of it at once. Like you've got a magic wand, which you don't, instead of picking a starting point and chipping away at the immediate problem. And when you lose focus on a video screen filled with things that want to hurt you, it's not long before you're trapped in a corner by a bunch of green creepers who insist that you call them Daddy. Once I accepted this and started to work within my limitations, I started getting through each level a little bit easier, and usually with a lot more points, because I simply stopped rushing in Robotron. I find Robotron is best played with a slower brain. What do I mean by a slower brain? Vicky would give you a very different answer. Very different answer. If you start each level with a frantic rush into it, without taking the time to do a little assessing, you will likely die. No, you will die. Well, you're gonna die anyway. You'll just die faster. And more often. There's a lot to deal with. And we've already established there's no magic wand, so make a decision and get busy. Father Time loves making the apathetic his bitch. And how many times have I died because I'm rushing and not thinking, and immediately die again right away? Because now I'm rushing even more, and I've stopped thinking altogether. Before you know it, you're out of control and flailing around with the desperate muddle-headedness of a preteen boy, whose quiet afternoon alone has suddenly been interrupted by the sound of the garage door. And the sudden terrifying realization that he forgot where he put his box of Kleenex. Point is, it's better to have a plan, even if it isn't a good one at first. Otherwise, you're just sitting there with your dick in your hands, waiting for your mom to walk in on you. That's when I usually tell myself to calm down, regroup, take a deep breath, and proceed to fuck it all up again, then completely lose my shit. But losing my shit doesn't get me very far. In Robotron. If you look up patience in the dictionary, you won't see a picture of me. But you'll hear me. I'm the guy behind you who's tapping his foot because he's been waiting a whole 22 seconds to look up the word forbearing. Believe it or not, patience can actually give you an edge in Robotron. If you're paying attention, you'll notice that the action doesn't start immediately. The robots take a few seconds to form before they begin their advance. It's a great chance to take in the board as a whole and figure out an initial strategy. It's also your first glimpse at the human layout for that level. This adds another line to the equation because humans don't form. They start on each board fully intact and moving as your enemies appear and the action begins. There's a lot to take in all at once. And if you're not prepared once the action starts, you may literally find yourself chasing ghosts. Or maybe some humans are moving too close to the Hulks and you decide that rushing is the only way to save them, only to get yourself killed as well. Those bad ideas that we keep trying and keep convincing ourselves that this time it's gonna work. What was Einstein's definition of insanity? Sometimes you've just gotta cut your losses and pivot. And that decision is hard as shit to make. But once you learn how to do it, things get a lot easier. In Robotron. It sucks to fall short of what you could have accomplished. But could have has no value. It's just an expired maybe. And it's a lot easier to swallow when you realize that often what is working against you is just random variance that is out of your control to begin with. But you see all those humans, all those points, just sitting there, right for the taking. And it's in every fiber of your being to try to speed through and collect them all at once, or at least want to. And that squirming feeling only gets worse every 5 levels. Because every 5 levels, you face a different kind of robot, the brains. And there are also a huge number of humans comparatively to the other boards. And it takes even longer
for everything to materialize and the action to begin.
So there you are, wetting your pants for that fucking eternity as that sweet cluster of humans that you're drooling over slowly vaporizes before you can even move. No, no, no! You scream in your head as you tighten your grip on those controllers and get ready to rush over there before it's too late. You're gonna show fate just how good you think it should think you really are. And you're dead. And some of the humans were killed fine. Now I'm really gonna kick ass and take names. And I'm gonna grab up the rest of the humans before those robots know what hit them. And you're dead. More humans killed. And your score just got reset. That's it. I'm gonna focus. Clear my head right now, and I'm gonna die again. Reset again, but now there are barely any humans left. Should just get the hell out of this level. This one didn't pan out. Just get to the next one and try to make better of it. You can't control where the humans are. You can't control where the enemies land. Some boards, and even entire games, are just easier than others. Some days it rains. Your results don't always reflect your efforts. Just like sometimes you have more fun in the games where you don't play as well, and other times you go deep and feel like shit when it's over. It doesn't always make sense, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why perspective is so important. Perspective is the cure for common variance. It's like an allergy medicine. It keeps the eyes clear. In Robotron. Truth is, the opportunities were never realistic to begin with, because what you were expecting wasn't what you found when you got there. And I can't tell you how many times I made that journey, convincing myself that I was right, damn it, even when I saw that I was headed for nothing. It sucks being wrong about things. And the day I actually decided to abandon my bold game plan, see that empty space for what it actually was, a dead fucking end, and start to look for alternative ways to get through my present challenge, was the day I started looking for the smartest way out, rather than the fastest. Deal with what you can control, not chase after what you can't. And that all boiled down to slowing down, stopping from time to time, even taking a few steps back to avoid a mess you're headed for. And sometimes, before you know it, something that looked completely impossible can suddenly turn into an unexpected victory. True, I was getting out of those levels with less points than I'd like, but if the board doesn't look good for scoring a lot of points, you need to do what you can to get to the next board, and hopefully a better opportunity. And as hard as it is to come by, patience is perspective's mistress. Patience for how things happen, when they happen, where they happen, adjusting to the wide variance you see from level to level. When I play fast, I'm thinking with all the clarity of a drunk driver racing to get home, and it usually ends badly. But when I apply patience and perspective at the beginning of every level, I always feel more confident. Things slow down. I have more time to assess, to react. My decisions are relevant to my immediate circumstance because I'm not racing ahead of myself. Now, that doesn't mean I can't peek ahead or behind me from time to time. I'll sometimes spot an obstacle that will likely become an issue, or have an opportunity to fire a quick shot in another direction to take out an inevitable threat. It's amazing what you can see coming ahead, and how surprisingly well you can sometimes deal with it when you have your head on right. In Robotron. The beauty of it is, it's a perpetual work in progress. Regardless of how I play today, I can have a fresh start tomorrow. And since the game is definitely going to outlast me, it's always nice to start over and try again. To try different things and see how slowing down and keeping perspective not only gets you further, it improves how you do in everything you're already familiar with in the game as well. You may play one board better one time than another. Sometimes you go really far and play really well. Other times you just can't seem to get any traction and it's like the first time you've ever laid eyes on the game, much less played it before. But each time you play, as long as you're still in the game, you've got a chance to go further than you've ever gone before. And just keeping yourself in the game may not seem like any kind of record-breaking strategy that would look sexy as shit in a headline. But I've learned from personal experience that if you hang in there and you stay alive long enough, the humans and the points tend to take care of themselves. I hope you have a fantastic day.